Hey everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and today I'm going to be talking about the first two chapters out of Mark Frost's latest book, Twin Peaks: The Final Dossier. Now, one thing I like is that when you open the book, you get this really nice blue rose with the title. I think that's pretty classy. Now, this book begins with an Interoffice Memorandum, which is written by Tamara Preston to Gordon Cole, dated September 6th, 2017, in which she basically talks about how last year she worked on the secret history of Twin Peaks, otherwise known as the Archivist Dossier. But here she states plainly, I'm the archivist now. So we see Tamara or Tammy, however you want to say it, basically take control of this investigation, which is kind of cool. She goes on to say, unlike the previous dossier, where for the most part all documents were presented to us in their entirety per Bureau standards, here I have taken the time to condense the relevant content I found into an uninterrupted narrative. So that explains why the book is very petite. You know, this is just a nice way to begin the book. I mean, The Secret History of Twin Peaks began with a letter from Gordon Cole to Tamara Preston, so this reverses things, and it's just kind of a nice touch. I do like the fact that at the end it says, most respectfully yours, Tamara Preston, Field Agent, Blue Rose, Task Force. So this book next goes to Leo Johnson's autopsy report, which was conducted by Albert Rosenfeld, or Rosenfeld, as Andy likes to say. It wasn't the spiders that killed Leo. Whatever quote-unquote evil genius, I'm looking at you, Wyndham Earle, decided to hoist a bag of tarantulas over his head as a dire threat to Leo's health, obviously wasted far too much time watching cheesy Vincent Price movies and not nearly enough studying arachnids. Tarantulas aren't ever fatally venomous. They just look scary. And then he goes on to say, I'm going to go out on another limb and conclude that it was the 5 gunshots to his upper thoracic area had slightly more to do with the late lamented Johnson's tragic demise. Now, some people have been thinking about, like, who could have killed Leo? Was it Bobby? Did he track down the cabin and shoot Leo? Did Wyndham Earle end up doing it before he went to the lodge? And I'm going to say no. I think that once the doppelganger got out of the lodge and he had Bob inside of him, which in turn also had some of Earl's memories in him, since Bob had Wyndham Earle's soul, that the doppelganger went to Wyndham Earle's cabin to collect whatever information Earl had gotten and discovered Leo Johnson there and took him out. That explains why the doppelganger in episode 2 of the new series had Wyndham Earle's briefcase with him. That just makes logical sense to me. Anyway, we don't get an answer here, but, we can pretty much figure it out ourselves here. Albert then concludes, the recent body count from this little criminal corner of town is officially way off. You have Jean Renault, Jacques Renault, Leo Johnson, and some other dirtbag drug dealer in the woods, which was, of course, Bernard Renault. When I brought this trend up to Sheriff Harry Truman, or as I like to call him, Chatty Cathy, he replied, well, makes my job a whole lot easier. That's fantastic. And of course, Albert initialed the autopsy here, which is great. That pretty much concludes the first 2 chapters of Mark Frost's book, The Final Dossier. Most of the chapters are relatively short, only 1 to 3 pages long. There's a couple bigger ones, but for the most part, this book seems to be written with an all-killer, no-filler attitude, which is really nice to see, considering the secret history of Twin Peaks. While ambitious, many of us, thought that the book meandered quite a bit, actually. Maybe in retrospect, it, won't seem like so, but initially, before Season 3 came out, it just seemed like a door-stopping bore of a book for many of us. This book is better, in my opinion. Yes, it's not as fantastical as The Secret History of Twin Peaks, but it's more personal. It's dealing with the characters that we've come to know and love, and that, just brings us back to the town of Twin Peaks, and not just into Lewis and Clark and Richard Nixon and all that stuff. So I think actually owning both books is good, so you can get the complete experience, but if you were going to just pick up one book and you were a huge Twin Peaks fan, I would say this is the one to get. It's pretty affordable, and it's definitely worth picking up.